Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's episode, we're going to be looking at the 26 million year cycle of extinctions. It looks like a great article, and we're going to have some fun. Either way, folks, let's go and basically look at artwork from an upcoming graphic novel, Scumdogs, and then we'll have a great time. Here's the Extreme 90s cover from a graphic novel. I did this cover to harken back to the comics of the early 90s. My book, Scumdogs, is a living parody of cartoons from back then, when cartoons were good. The Scumdogs themselves, they're your classic Saturday morning cartoon villains trying to take over the world, because that's what villains do. But the reason for, or should I say, the reasons they have taken over the world is that they were banned from pro sports. In the far future where my book takes place, because I'm going to explain to you why they're doing this, in the far future, people can become gods or monsters thanks to the advanced science and magic that exists there. And because of that, superhuman corporations were created to basically capitalize and use these athletes in superhuman competitions. One corporation used monsters, and it was known as the Scumdogs, Incorporated, to basically use these monsters in sporting events, known as the Scumdog Sport. Either way, they were known as Scumdogs because they competed for the Scumdogs Corporation. It's where they get their name from. So when they were banned for life for basically being villains and idiots, they kept calling themselves Scumdogs just to piss off the corporation that banned them. They're led by Deathmug. Deathmug is the Scumdogs cyborg overlord. He's the guy with the middle skull mask over here for a face. Deathmug is various villains from 80s and 90s cartoons. You can see in the way it's designed. For one thing, he has a skull for a face that makes him resemble Skeletor, who was the arch enemy of the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon. They both carry skulls for faces. But if you also notice, Deathmug's face has a bunch of metal spikes coming out face version of the Silverhawks cartoon. Like those villains, Deathmug is over the top and arrogant and wants to rule the world. Too bad, like Skeletor is as dumb as dirt with an ego the size of Mount Everest. But then again, that's pretty much par for most Saturday morning cartoon villains. But don't worry, folks. Deathmug might be an idiot and a fool, but he's in good company because his arch enemy, the hero of the book, is just as significant as Deathmug himself. Buick Starpoon. Buick Starpoon is this guy with the pompadour hair with the little palm tree growing out of it. He is the leader of the Wild Rangers, who are basically my parody of G.I. Joe crossed over with Starfleet from Star Trek. Buick Starpoon himself, he's basically an idiotic military commander who leads his troops into the battle badly. Now, the Wild Rangers, because they're G.I. Joe parodies, that means each member, including Buick Starpoon themselves, has a military specialty like a G.I. Joe. That's their special skills and abilities. Buick Starpoon's special skill is that he's a starship captain who leads the Wild Rangers into battle. Now, Buick Starpoon Rangers also wear the same uniform. They all wear the same uniform that Buick Starpoon is wearing, this sort of space cadet-looking Starfleet-looking uniform. So anyone on this cover wearing this uniform, they're a member of the Wild Rangers. So let's look at them now. Over here, this guy with the mohawk, his name is Roadhog. His military specialty is that he's a soldier from the army for the Wild Rangers, the Fast Dogs. Likewise, we have Beach Pounder. Beach Pounder is this bald guy with the gun down here, folks. See him? His skill is that he was once a member of the Marines. Then we have Blast Tank. Blast Tank is this guy over here, folks. His specialty is that he's a tanker. In other words, he drives around weaponized vehicles like this or tanks. Now, this cover, you see them on, it's one of 3 different variant covers. That means when you can finally back my book, you'll have a choice of 3 different covers for your copy of the book. This is one of them. Then we have Girl Friday. Girl Friday is a female member of the Wild Rangers. She's this woman over here with the short hair. Girl Friday was assigned to the Wild Rangers by your superiors in the Space Forces to make sure the babies basically babysit them and make sure they do their jobs. Now, she was assigned to the Wild Rangers to babysit them, and, well, Buick Starpoon doesn't really like her because she's a nagging woman, and all she can do is blah, 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 blah. So he basically orders her to basically sit and spin, which causes her to hate him and his team even more. Then we have Deathmug's henchman, Sloppy. Sloppy is the big fat guy with tentacles growing out of his head. Guy wearing the top hat and the leather jacket. These 2 guys are your classic henchman villains from the 80s. Totally fun to read about. Then we have Hair Metal Doctor. Hair Metal Doctor is this wearing a circle mask, wielding the electric guitar. Along with Miss Bressy here, both characters are parodies of 2 characters from Cobra from the J cartoon, namely their parodies of Dr. Mindbender and the Baroness. Dr. Mindbender inspired me to create Hair Metal Doctor here because his costume on the G.I. Joe cartoon honestly made Dr. Mindbender look more like a hair metal musician than a scientist. I thought, why not create a villain who was a hair metal musician and a bad guy? So I came up with Hair Metal Doctor, who rocks out while doing that science. Who was hired after villains. It's why he's a human and not a monster like the rest of them. Either way, he invents weapons and cheats for the world. And Miss Rusty Mullins, as I said, is a parody of the Baroness. The Baroness was Cobra's top spy and information agent. She was an incredibly rich woman who became a terrorist and wanted to help Cobra take over the world. In contrast, Miss Rusty Mullins was also an incredibly rich woman, but she had everything and she was bored. Yeah, she was the CEO of her own company and she was rich as hell, but she was still bored out of her mind. When the Scum Dogs became villains, she decided to join up with them and help them take over the world. Not because she believes in them, but because she thinks it will be fun. That's Scum Dogs, folks. Go back and hit that like button. Make sure you're still subscribed. Now, remember, folks, you can use the link down below you can use the link on my Twitter page. Well, it's at 777 Make It Chris One. You can use that link if you want to see the stream again. Also, hit that like button for me and please share this video out. Now, let me go over here and basically let's look at the article I came here for, folks. Let's look at this article right here. The incredible details of the 26 million year cycle of mass extinctions recorded in ancient Vedic texts. Let's read this article, folks. The idea that human civilization has been gradually evolving over time in a linear manner is a relatively new concept that was formulated during the period of colonization. Nearly every ancient human culture believed otherwise. They said that time moves in cycles, smaller and larger, and that our civilization has gone through innumerable ups and downs over eons with the emergence of new scientific data. It is becoming increasingly obvious that the ancients knew what they were talking about, and we have been far too quick to denounce the collective wisdom of our ancestors as the flights of fancy of primitives. The concept of the Yuga cycle or the Great Year, was known to most ancient cultures, and as per this framework, we evolved from an East-wild golden age of illumination, harmony, and abundance to the current age of greed and lies, discord and scarcity. The fundamental fact that differentiates a higher age from a lower one is the state of man's consciousness. In a golden age, consciousness is so elevated and purified that we can easily comprehend the mysteries of creation and our place in the wider scheme of things, and thus we are able to lead long lives in a state of joy, balance, and harmony, since the environment reflects our state of consciousness. There is a fertility and abundance in the higher ages and a lack of disease and natural disasters. But as we devolve on the descending arc of the Yuga cycle or Great Year, we move from soul consciousness to ego consciousness, and accompanied by a degradation in our physical size and the external environment, which gradually leads to a burgeoning of violence, misery, and discontent in our society. What is really striking is that all of these claims are now being borne out by scientific findings from different disciplines. It turns out that over the past 12,000 years of the descending arc of the Yuga cycle, humans have shrunk in size by at least 10%, along with the corresponding decline in bone strength and athleticism. This has been accompanied by a 10% to 17% reduction of our cranial volume over the same period, which has not only diminished the average intellect, but reduced our memory and atrophied our sense of judgment and morality, along with a host of subtle mental abilities such as foresight, telepathy, etc. Well, to add to these surprising statistics, it turns out that towards the end of the last ice age, there was no food scarcity or disease. But as time went on, as time went on, food sources became scarce, many kinds of diseases became endemic, and instances of violent deaths increased substantially. I forgot to do those. Basically, look at some Indiegos, didn't I, folks? Ooh. I can look at those in a few minutes, like that. Maybe as basically a commercial break. Either way, indeed, folks, apparently the Vedic cycle and basically the cycle of mass extinctions, They basically say that, well, over time, as we descend, we become more violent and basically less advanced. But they say they found that in the Vedic text and basically ancient wisdom. It's a fundamentally interesting concept if you think about it. Either way, they've said that basically violence endemic and instances of violent deaths, diseases became endemic and instances of violent deaths have increased substantially. You can see that. Either way, everything that the ancients of the Yuga cycle, a great year, is now turning out to be facts. But why aren't these statistics being discussed on mainstream media outlets? It's because they run counter to the Darwinian myth of gradual evolution by natural selection. I can see that too, folks. I'm not the biggest proponent of Darwinian evolution, folks. I think that there's been many ups and downs with humans, and basically that it's continually increasing all the time is something that's been proven to me that basically we're not improving all the time, folks. Things can basically disrupt this cycle, like say a meteor strike or such other things like disease. So I don't think we're constantly improving all the time either. Indeed, it goes counter to the Darwinian myth, a gradual evolution by natural selection that has been literally shoved down our throats and turned into an incontrovertible dogma. Very few scientists, academics, or media channels will dare to question Darwinism for fear of getting ridiculed, denied funds or promotions, or even or even hounded out of their profession. Do not question the science of the current science. This is unfortunately the insidious manner in which things work in the Kali Yuga, the darkest age of human history. Yeah, I can see that, folks. In my book, Yuga Shift, I have presented what I believe is the original Yuga cycle framework. It is the same duration as the precessional cycle of the Earth, i.e., 25,800 years. And it comprises an ascending cycle of consciousness and descending cycle of consciousness, which are separated by two extended periods of transition that the Greeks called the cataclysmos, meaning deluge, or the great winter of the great year, and epokyrosius, meaning conflagration of the great summer of the great year. It is the period of epokyriosis that we are heading towards as the Kali Yuga. And the entire descending cycle of consciousness come to an end in 2025. This is the year that this ends, folks, and we basically go back up to cycling up to basically as everything basically becomes better, apparently. Here's basically his diagram. The 25,800 year cycle and descending cycles are separated by two extended periods of transition called cataclysmos and epokyrosius. Here we see it, folks. And so like that. Very interesting, if true, folks. Now, before we go further, maybe I should look at a few Indiegogos, because I meant to do that, folks. I mean, I have it right here. Can think of this as the commercial break. Here we have Blue Bombshell Returns Campaign. Let's jump right into the synopsis. Hey, comics fans, the Blue Bombshell is back, baby, and this time around she's facing off against a whole new slew of supervillains and arch enemies. In fact, let me do this as well, folks. Stop screen, do this. I'm at this. So you get that full picture, folks. I can go back to this in a little bit. Here we go. And stuff like that. Let's do that. This. Come on. Now, they do this, folks. Yeah. The Blue Bombshell returns. Hey, comics fans, the Blue Bombshell is back, baby, and this time around she's facing against a whole new slew of super bad guys. Thundercock and Super Tits are looking to make a Bombshell without ever becoming a superhero in the first place. Now, in this campaign, you can back the Blue Bombshell for $25 and have a choice of several different covers A through D, including basically a Trump Wins variant add-on cover. But here's cover A, folks. It looks pretty good. I recommend cover B, which is a homage cover to Jim Lee's X-Men 272, which means basically a very much original classic cover, but done with the characters from the Blue Bombshell. Then there's cover C and D, which are adult covers, meaning the characters are nude on the fronts. Here's cover C, folks. And here's cover D. Now you can back cover C and D together for $50, but if you just want one individual cover, it's only $25. Just cover A and B. There's the Trump Wins variant cover, folks, which is an add-on. Hit that add-on after you back any of these perks, and you can basically add the Trump Wins variant to your order for another $25. Pretty good. Then we have, well, King Cryptid, folks. Let's do a synopsis for this book now. This episodic ongoing Monster and Mystery series follows New England's supernatural hero, King Cryptid. Every issue has a complete story and is part of a larger continuity, printed in a classic style with glossy covers and newsprint interiors. Created, written, and lettered and designed by Peter Schimmetti. Published by Alternative Comics. In issues 5 through 9, King Cryptid will face in issue 5, White Mountain Yeti. Issue 6, Dragon Verdurkin. Issue 7, Windy the Werewolf and the Cryptid Hunter, Victor Lugo. Issue 8, Zeta Reticulons. Issue 9, Puckwudgies. Yeah, and you can back these books for $15 to get issues 5 through 9. If you have not backed King Cryptid before, folks, there's also the King Cryptid Ketchup perk. For $25, get issues 1 through 9 together, or, well, as I said, $25. Not bad. Then, of course, you can get the signed and unsigned copies for, well, of issues 5 through 9 for $25, or for $45, get issues 1 through 9 signed and unsigned together for $45. Not bad perks, folks. Now, let's go back over here and look at the Blue Bombshell Returns trailer, and then we'll move on with my live stream. All right. As the Blue Bombshell Returns, folks, it's up on Indiegogo. Go back it. Looking good. All right. That was that, folks. Basically, well, staying with me through that commercial break. I really should have done that earlier, folks, but I forgot. Either way, let's get back to this article detailing the 26 million year cycle. So let's continue. Either way, we left the diagram for the Kali Yuga. Great, and now we're basically entering the Ecomerios, the 12,000 year cycle of rising consciousness, where everything is where everything is supposed to basically improve. This is a little basically synopsis of what we just said, folks. Either way, a day and night of Brahma. One of the thoughts that comes to mind when we think about the Yuga cycle or the cycle of the ages is that does it continue indefinitely without any beginning or end, or is it part of an even larger cycle of time? As per the ancient Vedic text, there is an even longer cycle of time called the day and night of Brahma, which extends for a whopping 25.8 million years. It consists of a day of Brahma, which extends for 1,000 Yuga half cycles, or of 12,900 years, each adding up to 12.9 million years. A day of Brahma is followed by has been described in a number of texts. As per the Vishnu Purana, at the beginning of day of Brahma, the world was created from unmanifested matter by Brahma, who is the pure, eternal, formless consciousness while seated at the table of the world. At the end of the day of Brahma, the entire creation is destroyed and turns into a mighty formation. This is followed by a night of Brahma where no life forms exist. The creative process begins once again at the day of Brahma. At the end of this day, i.e., day of Brahma, a dissolution of the universe occurs. When all the three worlds, Earth and the regions of space, are consumed with fire, when the three worlds are but one mighty ocean, Brahma saturates with the demolition Yet the demolition of the universe sleeps upon his serpent bed for a night of equal duration with his day, i.e., night of Brahma, at the close of which he creates anew. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna provides a specific value for the duration of the day and night of Brahma. Those who understand the cosmic laws know that the day of Brahma ends after 1,000 yugas, and the night of Brahma ends after 1,000 yugas. The day of Brahma dawns. When the day of Brahma dawns, forms are brought forth from the unmanifest. When the night of Brahma comes, these forms merge into the formless again. This multitude of beings is created and destroyed again and again in the succeeding days and nights of Brahma. All right. It should be remembered here that when the Sanskrit texts talk of the Yuga cycle, they mean the Yuga half cycle, which goes from Sattva Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga, including periods of transition between them. 1,000 Yuga half cycles is equivalent to 500 complete Yuga cycles of 2,800 years each, which works out to 12.9 million years. New life forms appear on Earth. Basically, here's a day and night diagram of Brahma. New life forms appear on Earth. Here, day at 12.9 million years. Dissolution, this basically hinders. Night of Brahma, 12.9 million years. Then it goes back to the creation. The Earth is devoid of all life forms. A day and night of Brahma spans 25.8 million years and consists of a day of Brahma of 12.9 million years and a night of Brahma of equal duration, which is the heading under the diagram here, folks. Very, very interesting. Now, a day of Brahma therefore extends for 12.9 million years, during which time we experience a long sequence of 500 complete Yuga cycles, and the Earth is bustling with life and civilization. It is followed by a night of Brahma of equal duration of 12.9 million years, when all life is snuffed out, and the entire world exists as a giant, formless, lifeless ocean. Thus, the day and night of Brahma is a grand cosmic cycle of creation and just dissolution, spanning over 25.8 million years. It is easy to see that the time period between two successful dissolution events in this cycle is 25.8 million years, which can be rounded off to 26 million years now. If I just 26 million years, that should in fact be reflected in the fossil records of our planet. Amazingly enough, that is exactly what has been indicated by recent paleontological evidence. Over 26 million years, there is a mass extinction of species on the Earth. Basically saying that every 26 million years, folks, there appears to be at least close to that time a mass extinction. That's what it's saying here, folks, which is, well, in the fossil record, that does seem to be what happens. At least from what the writer here is telling us. Very interesting if true. Now we have two watching, and we go here, folks, and we basically do this. Let's basically continue. We have 3 watching so far and stuff like that. Looks pretty good. Now, let's get to this mass extinction cycle. Around 67 million years ago, the Earth looked like a very different place. Enormous dinosaurs stalked the landscape, while massive avian reptiles patrolled the skies. Then something catastrophic happened. What indeed happened, folks? Just for a moment, I need to take another break, just real quick. Okay, that was much better. Basically going over and turning on my heater. It's a bit later. But what happened every 26 million years and what was so catastrophic? That was a good enough place to leave off to while I would basically do that. Basically turn my heater there, folks. What did happen? What is so catastrophic that happened, which changed things almost overnight? Well, for one thing, at least if you basically believe this, the extinct dinosaur around. At least basically which was one of several mass extinctions that happened in this sort of a time frame. But let's get to the article because it can basically explain better than I can at this point. But then something catastrophic happened, which changed things almost overnight. Nearly 66 million years ago, the Earth went through a period of rapid death called a mass extinction, with more than 75% of all animal and plant species became extinct. Scientists now have evidence that the die-off was caused when an asteroid about 12 kilometers, 10 kilometers in diameter, struck the Earth at a speed of about 20 kilometers per second, and created the 200-kilometer wide Chicxulub crater in southeastern Mexico, releasing 1 billion times more energy than the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima. Here's a picture of a dinosaur, possibly, dinosaur would basically experience one of these mass extinctions. The extinction of the dinosaurs was caused by an asteroid impact at the K2 boundary nearly 66 million years ago. Basically, but how does that basically go with the 26 million year cycle, folks? Isn't 66 million years well beyond that point? The article will explain it better. Yeah, the impact generated hot winds and shock waves and injected a gigantic jet of molten material several times hotter than the surface of the sun, which set fire to everything within 1,000 miles. Elements of the layer of ash and soot that eventually coated the Earth indicated fires consumed about 70% of the world's forests. The collision triggered powerful earthquakes and spawned mega tsunamis, hundreds of feet tall. A model of the impact even developed by scientists at Los Alamos National Laboratory shows. Here's basically a little excerpt basically talking about that fact, folks. The dust and soot from the impact and the conflagrations of the fires prevented all sunlight from reaching the plant's surface. It's basically the mushroom cloud, basically the nuclear winter that the impact caused, folks. It prevented sunlight from reaching the plant's surface for months. Photosynthesis all but stopped, killing most of the plant life, and the fires died down. Earth plunged into a period of cold, perhaps even a deep freeze. Earth's two essential food chains in the sea and on land collapsed. About 75% of all species went extinct. More than 99.99% of all living organisms on Earth died, and the carbon cycle came to a halt, which is recorded in basically, by paleontologists and archaeologists, folks. Basically, if you look at at the fossil record, that proves what happened. Basically, if you believe in that sort of thing, folks. Now, I might have my own things about boundaries with evolution, and I'm basically, folks, I have problems with Darwinian evolution. I don't think it really basically explains everything. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't explain some things, and basically things, basically the fossil record here happened back then to cause a big fire, and you can see it basically in the ground, in the oldest parts of the Earth, in the oldest ground. Basically, you see this line where this literally all life stopped. And in that line, it basically, when archaeologists test, it looks like ash. So something literally burned the Earth, but they don't understand what did it. Well, it burned and then froze the Earth because it caused a nuclear winter. Either way, we have 3 watching, not bad. We have 10 watching, not bad either. 13, 14 watching, that's good. But let's continue, folks, because we have a lot more to get through. Now, it is noted that the impact event at the KT boundary, that's the area I was talking about, folks, where this area was basically where they found ash, and basically literally where ash and basically and other stuff basically rained down into the ground, creating a layer, which is known as the KT boundary. Effectively, it killed all the living organisms on our planet. The species is estimated roughly 75%. This is because some of the species that existed at the time reappeared in the fossil records at a later date, and therefore is not considered to have gone extinct. Indeed, folks, some animals did survive, which is why we still have life here. The fiery cataclysm that led to the extinction of the dinosaurs is in perfect alignment with the descriptions of the dissolution events that occurs at the end of the day of Brahma. All life forms on the earth are destroyed, and as the Vishnu Purana states, all of the 3 worlds, earth and the regions of space, are consumed with fire. Immediately, the ancient Vedic sagas know a thing or two about the true history of our planet. I would say that's very, very intriguing, folks. Either way, here's another impact of a meteor impacting the Earth. The asteroid impacted the KT boundary, released 1 billion times more energy than the atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima. Indeed, folks. That's what the records show. What the fossil records show. Either way, getting back to the Earth, this is not the only massive that has occurred on our planet in the past. There are many more, and quite surprisingly, they occur in a cyclical manner every 26 million years, at least close to it, folks. So the fact that that various religious texts basically say something similar is very, very intriguing, isn't it? That is certainly an intriguing aspect, folks. Why do these religious texts basically line up fossil record? That's something we can only speculate on, folks. Is it something to do with maybe some higher beings coming down and telling us about it afterwards? Basically saying, if you don't do what's right, and prepare for this, every 26 million years, you and your people will face an extinction. And stuff like that, a mass extinction. I mean, they probably could basically tell that with dinosaurs because they were animals, unless reptilians or the insectoids. Because if you're not intelligent enough to understand what you're being told, then these higher beings probably didn't actually come here for them. Then again, humans did eventually appear on Earth, if they hadn't already appeared basically millions of years ago. Anyway, as I said, these higher beings, what we would call gods, or basically highly advanced alien beings, came down here perhaps and maybe warned us about this, that every 26 million years, Earth basically faced an extinction cycle. Sounds reasonable. At least some skeptics would say that's unreasonable as you can ever get, folks. But then again, as I said, maybe if these beings exist, maybe this is a reasonable way for them to basically tell us about this, especially if we are basically barbarians or basically primitives. They said every 26 million years, due to the vertex cycle, you will face a mass extinction event. And if you look at past civilizations, look at basically ancient civilizations that we have here on Earth, apparently, yeah, they did, thanks to the Yuga cycle, they prepared for various cycles of destruction, like say the end of the last ice age, which looks very much like the Great Flood that occurs in the Bible. So maybe some being came down here, maybe someone figured it out, basically some ancient scientists figured it out, and this is why mankind survived the ice age through the Great Flood, because they prepared for it. And the ancient legends of basically this Great Flood are the last reminders at the end of the last great ice age, folks, that are still recorded in ancient texts, but basically through legends and myths. If you see a few myths out of East Asia, they talk about some guy who basically survived through the Great Flood by basically being in a boat. Then there's the old Bible story, folks, of the Great Flood. And there are others, basically, legends of the Great Flood as well. As I said, folks, perhaps some guy figured out that there was going to be a great flood at the end of the last great ice age. And through the ancient legends and myths, the story survived. Now, as you can see through the ancient legends and stuff like that, over the different retellings, they basically more than one person surviving. Certainly, basically Noah wasn't the only person that just survived; his family survived. But that's the Great Bible. That's the Bible story. Other legends say of different people surviving the Great Flood. So maybe all these legends are true to some extent, folks, and maybe all these people did experience this Great Flood that occurred at the end of the last great ice age. That's just me saying that, folks. Either way, let's continue with this article. Either way, yeah. In 1984, paleontologist David Spepkowski of the University of Chicago identified a 26 million year periodicity in extinction rates over the past 250 million years. As part of a broad study of the distribution of marine life through geologic time, Spepkowski had prepared a listing of about 250,000 species of sea-dwelling creatures, both extinct and current, noting that the point in time where they appeared and became extinct. The study was confirmed to marine organisms, since the chances of finding fossils of a much higher value under the sea. The oceans are areas of net sedimentation, whereas land is an area of net. Interesting. Now, David Rapp, a senior colleague at the University of Chicago, suggested to Spepkowski that he examine the list of any evidence, of a pattern in the timing of the mass extinctions. Spetkovsky decided to concentrate on the last 250 million years of geologic time and throughout animals whose exact timing of appearance and disappearance were debated. He was left with about 500 of his original 3,500 marine families, 250,000 species. Spetkovsky put the date through a computer program and was surprised to find that life forms on Earth disappeared in great numbers every 26 million years. Both of them checked for more errors and confirmed the pattern. Life seemed to disappear drastically exactly every 26 million years, and their seminal paper, Rapp and Spetkovsky wrote. Here's what they said, folks. The temporal distribution of the major extinctions over the past 250 million years has been investigated statistically using various forms of time series, various series is based on variation in extinction density for fossil families of marine vertebrates and protozoans, and contains 12 extinction events. The 12 events show a statistically sufficient periodicity of p 0.01, or basically to the power, I guess, maybe p to the power 0. I should read this equation, folks, but you get that idea. This means that every 26 million years, due to their math, it looks like and basically what they found, that there's a mass extinction event that takes place on Earth with a mean interval between events of 26 million years. The events can coincide with the extinctions that have been previously linked to meteorite impacts. Causes the periodicity, or it is possible that they are related to extraterrestrial forces, solar system, or galactic. Indeed, these forces could cause these events, folks, and stuff like that. Here's a diagram, folks. The extinction data in the past 250 million, or 250 MER shows that the extinction rate peaks every 26 million years. Yeah, basically from what they see, folks, they basically the fossil record, and they basically noted around noted that every 26 million years there's some sort of mass extinction event that they found. Okay, that's very, very interesting. Now, I mean, what can I say about that, folks? If it's true, it means that indeed that this does happen. We have 7 people watching, by the way. Not bad. Now we have we have 19 people watching, 20 people. That's pretty good, folks. But either way, let's continue. Yeah, because exactly, folks, as I said, it's not just interesting and intriguing. It's just the fossil record shows this. And basically, in a very real terms, folks, this was what happens. Every 26 million years, for whatever reason, maybe, as I said, maybe it's some sort of galactic, or maybe a solar event that happens, or maybe it's some sort of, as I said, not just a galactic event, basically in our neighborhood, maybe some sort of universal or basically truly galaxy-wide event that happens that causes some sort of mass extinction event that happens here on Earth. That's if indeed the data does seem to stay that, folks. So, what can I say about that? That's terrifying. And I have to ask, when's the next mass extinction event like that happening? I mean, this year, 2025 is when basically this we're going to basically supposedly enter we're going to basically reach a period where our consciousness are basically going to start rising. So what's going to happen next then? Indeed, what does this all mean? So I can't really say, folks. All I can do is basically spitball ideas, but from what I'm seeing here, it's very, very interesting. I mean, the data that they found with these 2 scientists, and what they found with what they found in the fossil record does seem to it does seem to basically line up with this Kali Yuga cycle, doesn't it? That's all I will say there, folks. I mean, I want to read some more of this article, so maybe it'll give us a better idea of basically the cycle and what it means for us in the future. Now, so let's get back to the article. Without any further words. The mass extinction events are not selective at all in the way Darwin had proposed, as per Darwinism. The evolutionary process is gradual, and life forms evolve slowly through a process of natural selection, in which the inferior life forms are eliminated since they are less suited to the struggle for existence. However, in case of a mass extinction, there is no way of knowing beforehand which species will spawn the extinction events. The process is entirely random. In a paper titled, The Role of Extinction in Evolution, 1982, by David Rapp, wrote. What he wrote about this is that what he wrote here, folks, is what he basically thinks this all means. The way that mass extinctions affect life forms on this planet. The largest mass extinctions produce major restructuring of the biosphere, whereupon some successful groups are eliminated, allowing previously minor groups to expand and diversify. There is little evidence that extinction is selective in the positive sense, argued by Darwin. It has generally been impossible to predict before the fact which species will be victims of an extinction event. Because remember, folks, a mass extinction doesn't select people. It just randomly happens. Now, a species that was basically going to go extinct due to competition, basically a smaller species, or basically a species less adapted to the current climate, maybe they due to this mass extinction event, they survived, and the species that was basically driving them to extinction, they're the ones that go actually extinct. Supposing this, folks, maybe there was such a species like, say, mammals. Remember, during the time of the dinosaurs, due to the mass extinction of the dinosaurs, mammals rose up as basically and replaced them. Now, if the dinosaurs didn't go extinct, would mammals have risen up, folks? Mammals rose up and basically replaced the dinosaurs, and kind eventually took over. So look at it like that. Basically, for a brief idea on this, folks. Either way, it basically, due to this, does line up nicely with with what happened with mankind eventually evolving, folks. At least if you believe we evolved like that. So you get that. So I think I reasonably explained that pretty quickly right there. Either way, I don't want to spend too much time here, folks, because I want to get through a little more of this article before I close it up for the day, and pick up the rest of it tomorrow. Before I continue with this, let me go back over here, folks. Let's see. We have 22 watching. Okay, we had 29 watching. 3 watching. Not bad. Very good. Let's see. We have 7 watching. 29. 30 watching. Either way, let's once more get back to the article, because this is certainly very thrilling. Now, all right. The 26 million year extinction cycle has since been validated by a number of independent studies. In 2010, Adrian Marlott and Richard Bombach identified a 27 27 is it year? This is 27 periodicity in the extinction data, extending over the past 500 million years, they wrote. Let's read what they wrote about this, folks. We examined periodicities in extinction over the last 500 million years and concluded that a signal detected by Rabup and Spotkovsky in 1984 was present and better resolved more extensive current data over a larger time period than they had originally claimed, and at a higher level of significance. The claimed period grew from 26 to 27 Mir, and is now also observed to extend over the entire 500 million year interval, rather than just the last 250 million years, due to revisions in the geological timescale since the 1980s. Indeed, folks, what they found was that indeed every 26 million years, or 27 million years, roughly, folks, there's a mass extinction event. Sometimes this can be more dramatic and devastating than some. Like the extinction of the dinosaurs was truly basically devastating, folks, because huge giant animals, the dinosaurs. But smaller extinctions, mass extinctions, have taken place with basically less dramatic effects and stuff like that. Like the end of the last Trias period, the end of the last ice age, which caused an extinction event which basically wiped out most large animals like the mastodon, the woolly mammoth, the saber-toothed tiger, and other such animals, folks, where our ancestors lived through that period and stuff like that. I would say the end of the last Dryas period, where these animals went extinct, was probably less devastating, at least basically to what happened with the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs, you think the giant animals, the size of literally almost the size of buildings in cases, are basically just, maybe not the size of buildings per se, but just these very large animals, they all went extinct. Now, in the last Dryas, it's truly another mass extinction event, and truly, at least to us, it was truly terrifying and stuff like that, because we had these giant animals like the mastodons, the woolly mammoths, the sloths, saber-toothed tigers and other such animals, they went extinct at the end of the last ice age. So, at least in that way, folks, during these periods of destruction, large animal species can go extinct and stuff like that. Be truly devastating and stuff like that to the entire planet. At least the life that's currently there at the time, at least. But you get the idea. Either way, I just wanted to say that before I continue, folks. But remember, we survived. The human race survived through the last mass extinction, which happened with the end of the Dryas period, with the extinction of basically, as I said, the woolly mammoth and the giant sloth and other such animals, folks. So I just wanted to basically say that before mass extinction impact predators. Let's read this part now, folks, at least for a few minutes before I basically end this live stream. It has become quite obvious over that the primary triggers for the mass extinctions are impact events. In 1980, the father and son duo of the Nobel Prize-winning physicist Luis Alvarez and his son, the geologist Walter Alvarez, had inferred that the sudden extinction of dinosaurs at the KT Cretaceous Tertiary boundary nearly 66 million years ago was due to the impact of a large asteroid or comet. That's what they say, folks. I have to say, it looks like the data seems to line up with it. Lewis and Walter Alvarez noticed that the sedimentary layers all over the world at the KT boundary contain a concentration of iridium many times greater than normal iridium. It is extremely rare in the Earth's crust, but is abundant in chondritic meteorites and asteroids. Moreover, the isotopic ratio of iridium in asteroids is similar to that seen in the KT boundary. Later, based on this, the Alvarez team suggested that the iridium spike at the KT boundary was of extraterrestrial origin, and it settled out of a global dust cloud triggered by the impact of an asteroid, at least 10 kilometers. If that makes sense, obviously, to see in the fossil record, because it looks like in the fossil record where this iridium layer in the boundary, it looks like indeed that this iridium came from meteor impact, because it explains it quite nicely. Otherwise, how would this actually? It does nicely line up. Either way, while Alvarez's theory was initially rejected by most paleontologists, the subsequent discovery and dating of the Chicxulub crater in Mexico validated their findings and silenced the dissenters. Since then, other scientists have found that the estimated ages of a number of impact craters coincide with the mass extinctions. It does seem to be, folks. But then again, some folks speculate that they're all going to die out during the KT of it. As I said, their numbers are dwindling. Perhaps because they remember folks were large animals, and remember, the environment is always changing, and because some large animals basically change all. The KT actually the Earth, it finally caused the extinction of the dinosaurs. But again, no one's really quite sure. They just said that maybe in some fossil records, some people have seen that maybe the dinosaurs were basically already going extinct, that their numbers were dwindling, at least to some extent. But the KT event actually just killed them off. Maybe. Some people say yes to that. Some people, that's what some paleontologists believe. Either way, indeed, basically, it doesn't matter. Basically, the dinosaurs have been extinct during the KT event, or they were going to go extinct anyway. But then again, the KT event happened, and it really could basically be that killed them off. Anyway, that's what I will say. Until we have further data on that, we won't know and stuff like that. Until scientists basically look for more data and basically discover and find it. Well, we won't know for sure. Anyway, that's just that, folks. Let's move on, though. All right. Now, let's see. Since then, other scientists have found that the estimated ages of a number of impact craters coincide with the mass extinction events, folks. Remember, indeed, basically found their dates list back to other mass extinction events. So that does say that maybe these mass extinction events do happen because of meteor impacts, or so if true, that's very interesting. And things like these impact events happen every 26 million years. So that is another interesting. Before I end my live stream. In the mid-1980s, cratering specialist Richard Grieve ran his list of well-dated impact craters through the computer at NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies, and identified audacity of nearly 30 million years around the same time. Walter Alvarez and Richard Muller at UC Berkeley identified a 28 million year cycle using a somewhat different set of craters. Here's a picture of one of these impact events, folks. An aerial photograph of the Barringer meteor crater in Arizona, USA, which was created about 50,000 years ago. Yeah, it's basically the impact craters like this and other such events, and people and scientists studying them. We basically come by this data, folks. Yeah. Either way, in 2015, Michael Rambino and his student Ken Caldera studied more in improved crater age data and found that craters and extinctions both occur with the same 26 million year cycle. Crater formation rate peaks close to the time of an extinction event, and some largest impact craters perform during an extinction event. Clearly, the 26 million year extinction cycle is a significant geological signal, which some scientists call the geological heartbeat of our planet. Indeed, folks, it happens so often it might as well be a heartbeat. It happens in years, much like the geyser. So it happens, bam, that's a heartbeat. It happens again, bam, another heartbeat. Yeah, I can understand why they would say that, because it does happen so regularly. It might as well be a heartbeat, folks. Either way, yeah, you get the idea there. Either way, I'm leaving this off for the day, folks. So let's talk about what we've talked about here, folks. Is it possible that the data is right? That every 26 million years there's another extinction level event? Yeah, perhaps, folks. Either way, that is certainly thrilling. Well, now we have 8 million. We have 8 people watching here. We have I guess 31, 32. Not bad. Either way, every 20 years, that is certainly something to think about. And if you look at this crater a bit better, let me go back to the article here. As you can see, look at that. Every 26 million years, and said that maybe it's other cosmic phenomena, maybe like say a gamma ray burst that could cause a massive extinction. A gamma ray burst would be far worse than basically than a crater impact, folks. It would probably wipe out all life on the planet with no way to basically for it to ever restart, at least not for a while. Either way, it's other cosmic phenomena like this that could also happen too. Like that. Now I have a hard time basically specifying, trying to think of those other extinction events, folks, because meteor impacts or comet impacts are easy to think about. While a gamma ray burst is literally a gamma ray burst. It's a gamma radiation burst energy that comes from basically two suns basically hitting each other, causing a gamma ray burst emission. And eventually this emission eventually reaches us, which would wipe out all life on the planet where it hits. So I wouldn't say it's impossible that something like that has hit us as well, folks, at least one time in the past. But then again, if we were hit by a gamma ray burst, no life would probably survive at all on it. That's how devastating these things are. Either way, that's what I mean. That's the meaning here, folks. There's more than just meteor impacts to think about with basically the universe. There's such things as gamma ray bursts, black holes, and other such things, maybe mini black holes or something. But those events would probably wipe out the planet itself, or maybe make life wipe out life so much that life could never restart. That's what would happen with a gamma ray burst there. So I'm not really sure if something like that has ever hit our solar system. If it did, folks, maybe we would explain at least some of the mass extinction events. As I said, folks, there's other things to worry about than meteors and basically that. There's other things the universe could throw at us that could kill us. And I don't mean basically alien invaders. I mean natural phenomena and stuff like that. Maybe aliens did invade the planet. We can't. Yeah, as I said, maybe aliens did invade the planet, but we don't know. As I said, folks, there's other phenomena out there in the universe that could explain some of these mass extinction events, not just meteors. But then again, from what I'm seeing here, it looks like the cycle does seem to basically line up very nicely with every meteor that seems to hit the planet. So every 26 million years, we're hit by a meteor or a comet, and it basically causes one of these mass extinction events. That lines up very nicely. That could be a cloud, which is in our solar system, folks, which is basically literally that a cloud of asteroids and meteors that basically orbit the sun along with our own planet. And every 26 million years, we are hit by one of these meteors on a regular cycle. Damn. Either way, we have to wonder how far away are we from the next impact event, folks? And because in case this does happen anytime soon. Either way, what I'm saying here, folks, thanks to the Oort cloud, because it literally is a cloud of meteors and asteroids that basically does orbit the sun along with our own planet, folks. Due to that, every 26 million years, yeah, I would say that we are due to another soon, but it will eventually happen. Anyway, this article here does basically tell us that much, I would say. So indeed, folks, if you look at that, indeed, it all seems to line up perfect. Either way, hopefully we're not due for basically maybe for another few million years at least. Either way, we won't know until it actually happens. At least until someone finds a meteor, perhaps, and stuff like that. Either way, folks, it's certainly thrilling what we just read here, folks. Do you think that we're going to basically what we're going to have with the Kali Yuga cycle? Basically, from what I read, basically here and with other. Let me try that again. With what I read here in this article and other articles, we are indeed basically entering the summer where everything is going to get better. So hopefully we won't be hit by another great meteor anytime soon during this period. Either way, I can help the betterment of the world and mankind. Either way, folks, we're at the end. So please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics, They're Bad For You. The there is misspelled. It's THERE. Yeah, it's Read Comics, They're Bad For You. It's supposed to be Read Comics, They're Bad For You. Yeah. It's regular. It's basically I misspelled it there in the title of my YouTube channel. Read Comics, They're Bad For You. THERE. So go subscribe to Read Comics, They're Bad For You. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Down below. Hit the notification. Hit the part of the bell that will give you all future notifications. And please share this video out. Not bad. Now we have 10 people watching. We have 30 people watching. We have 41 people watching. Not bad. Thank you all for joining me. Now, please go over and subscribe to Dark Sayings on YouTube and on BitChute. Yeah. Just basically, I was basically congratulating you guys all being here, but now I'm basically having you go. I'm asking you all to go subscribe to another channel. Either way, go subscribe to Dark Sayings. Dark Sayings is like my show or Art Bell's old radio show. If you like my show, well, paranormal and other supernatural things, you're gonna love Dark Sayings. He does these short videos on strangers, and they're really good. But he has live streams at 10 o'clock p.m. at night, where he tells about ghosts, monsters, about the Kali Yuga cycle, God, basically people encountering aliens and ghosts, people seeing cryptids like Mothman and Bigfoot, and they're all great to watch. And you watch one of these live streams. So go subscribe to Sayings on YouTube and on BitChute. Yeah, it looks down below for the BitChute channel, folks. And then go subscribe to Robot Co-op. Robot Co-op is it's very much like that old TV show, Mystery Science Theater 3000. You know that TV show where that guy is trapped in outer space with these two wisecracking robots? Folks watch bad movies, and then they bust them. Well, Robot Co-op is like that, only it's a live streaming gaming channel, though they do have their own wisecracking robots on the show as well. They play good games, they play bad games, and they roast the hell out of them. It's like being at a party. You sit back, eat something, and drink something, and have a good time. And these guys have fun. And you love their live streams up on Twitch on Sunday, because they're just so much fun to watch. So go subscribe to Robot Co-op, up on YouTube and on Twitch. Then go subscribe to Stitched Together Picks. Stitched Together Picks is a horror movie review channel hosted by the maniacal cinephile who has more than one personality. So you're not just getting one character, you're getting a whole lot of them. All of them are fun. Go subscribe to Stitched Together Picks up on YouTube. Now remember, folks, down in the descriptions or in the chat, I'll have links. I'll have links to YouTube, Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch or BitChute, Dark Sayings, Robot Co-op, and Stitched Together Picks. Remember, use those links and go subscribe to them. Well, use those links and go subscribe to those guys I just mentioned, Dark Sayings and Stitched Together Picks. But really, I want you to use those links and use them to go and subscribe to my own channels up on YouTube, Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, or BitChute. Because remember, I'll be back today with 2 exclusive live streams up on Rumble, Odyssey, Twitch, and BitChute soon. In fact, my next live stream will be up on Odyssey, Rumble, and BitChute in maybe a little while, or basically a few minutes, or maybe or in a little while. Folks. Use them and basically wait for my next stream, and I'll be back soon enough, and we'll have some more supernatural, cryptid, or basically alien fun. I'm closing the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. We had fun, folks. folks, and it was one hell of a stream. But I'll be back soon enough, and we'll have some more fun then. Until then, as usual, folks, bye. When the last time before we leave, folks, we had 11 people watching. That's pretty damn good, folks. We had 36 people watching. Okay, so we had 37 watching. 38, well, I mean, actually 48 watching. That's great, folks. 48 watching. Ooh. Thank you for making this a wonderful live stream. But the end. So, see you later, folks. I'll be back.